to Bear's credit, he's not immediately jumping at the chance to take advantage of her or whatever. Like, he gives her privacy and space. He doesn't want to make it weird. He turns around when she takes her shirt off. And like, based on what people were saying about this movie online, I expected Bear to be this like horribly angry, misogynistic incel dude.
One movie, one review that puts the entire internet on fire. Then, poof, the review vanishes. A man shows up in its place with a, sorry, the internet fires up again, like triple time. Then, poof, the man vanishes too. And in his place stays just a dry corporate community post saying, won't do it again. So, what actually happened? Grab a snack because we're going to talk about it. Hey there, my absolute beauties. I feel like a total relic saying this, but I used to watch Alex back in like high school. You know, those days when you'd come home, throw your bag on the floor, and just dissociate to some YouTuber ranting about a bad Disney Channel movie. Well, that was my bread and butter. I haven't clicked on one of his videos in years. I genuinely couldn't tell you why. Maybe I just grew up. Maybe my taste shifted. Who knows? But then my feed started getting absolutely nuked with videos titled like, Why is Alex Meyers like this? Or The Alex Meyers Obsession Disaster. Well, naturally, the algorithm won. I watched the review and I understood immediately why the internet was currently setting itself on fire.
As you can see, Nikki's starting to act a little out of character. She's saying things that don't make sense. She also demands to go over to his house to spend the night.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And to Bear's credit, he's not immediately jumping at the chance to take advantage of her or whatever. Like, he gives her privacy and space. He doesn't want to make it weird. He turns around when she takes her shirt off. And like, based on what people were saying about this movie online, I expected Bear to be this like horribly angry, misogynistic incel dude, right? But like, up until this point, he's just some super socially awkward loser who has a crush on a girl and he uses a $7 wishing toy that he assumes is not going to work. And then when Nikki starts acting like this, he's very confused and put off by it.
Then, the next day, poof. Gone, scrubbed. In its place, a video pops up with the man himself actually showing his face to give an apology. And then, poof again. Both videos deleted. It was like watching a digital ghost story unfold in real time. Since I didn't plan on covering this, I didn't really archive anything, like literally nothing. I'm not that prepared, okay? But I've spent enough time doom scrolling through the archives of the internet to piece together the absolute car crash that went down. And yeah, we're gonna talk about it because as someone who loves a good breakdown, this is a masterclass in how not to handle a controversy. So, let's set the stage, right? The movie is Obsession. It's an indie flick about this guy, Bear, who finds a magic wishing toy and essentially forces his crush, Nikki, to fall in love with him. Spoiler, it goes horribly wrong. It's a movie about predation, loss of autonomy, and the terrifying reality of nice guys who, surprise, surprise, aren't actually nice. Well, now Alex's take, he decided to play the enlightened centrist card. He frames Bear not as a villain, but as this misunderstood, socially awkward loser who is just a product of his circumstances. At one point, he essentially says, to Bear's credit, he doesn't take advantage of her.
I don't know, Nikki.
Obviously, things get different later on, but at least up to this point, Bear has no idea that the wishing willow worked. And again, to his credit, the very next day he immediately tells Ian that he thinks something's wrong with Nikki. Like he seems genuinely concerned.
Took advantage of me.
I don't think I didn't.
I know, that's why I'm saying you didn't.
Okay, see, this is my point. Like, given the circumstances, Bear's being pretty normal about this, okay? Given what he does and does not know by this point in the movie, like, he could have slept with her, or he could have taken some kind of advantage of her, but he was rather gentlemanly at the time.
Hold on now, pause. To his credit, bro, not sexually assaulting someone who is clearly having a psychological breakdown isn't a credit to your character. That is literally the floor. That is the bare minimum requirement for being a functioning member of the human race. You don't get a gold star for not being a predator. It's like saying, to my credit, I didn't set my neighbor's house on fire today. Thanks, I guess. The problem isn't that Alex says Bear is good. He explicitly says he's a villain. But he spends the entire video treating Bear's actions with this weird, soft-handed empathy that the movie never earns. He compares it to Disney movies like 16 Wishes or Descendants, trying to play it off as just another be careful what you wish for romp.
You all equally upset about the Disney Channel original movie Zapped or 16 Wishes? Because fundamentally, these are all the same movie. Like, remember Descendants 1, Mal cast a spell that made Ben fall in love with her? Where's all the Reddit threads about that? I don't see no 2-hour video essay.
But obsession isn't 16 Wishes. It's not about a girl learning a quirky lesson. It's about a woman's life being systematically dismantled by a guy who thinks his loneliness entitles him to her existence. When Alex hand waves the more sinister implications, it comes off less like a film analysis and more like he's trying to defend his own self-insert fantasy. And the reaction was predictable. The comment section turned into a war zone, and Alex's response was, well, vintage YouTuber, I'm sorry you felt that way. Energy. He pinned a comment basically blaming the audience for not listening to what he actually said, which is the quickest way to turn a spark into a forest fire. Then came the apology video.
So first of all, I'm sorry if I worded my video in a way that made it sound like I am defending or pro-rape in some way. That is very much not the intention of the video. The video is not meant to be a defense of Bear. I think I say that in the video. It is an objective observation of how he gets from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. I am not a rapist. I do not condone rape. I do respect women. I do not think women deserve to be raped. Apparently I need to say this very clearly. So that is my thoughts on this. And to close things out, I am not a thought leader. I'm not a politician. I'm just a random guy on YouTube who's making cartoons about movies. And some of those movies have heavy subject matter. Sometimes it relates to you in a very direct way. But ultimately, I'm just making mostly jokey cartoons about movies. And maybe you don't think they're funny, or you don't think they're good, or whatever. But that's all I'm doing. And I've never claimed to be a perfect person. I've never claimed to be an arbiter of morality. I'm just a dude on YouTube making jokes about movies. So, thank you for your time.
I watched it, and I felt like I was watching someone try to do math while riding a roller coaster. He claimed he wasn't a thought leader or a politician, just a guy making jokey cartoons. Oh my god. And look, I get it, we're just people on the internet, but you can't have it both ways, my guy. You can't stand on a platform, claim you're going to give a based take that will upset people, and then when you actually get the pushback, retreat into the I'm just a silly YouTuber bunker. 4 million subscribers, by the way. It's the ultimate Schrodinger's douchebag. You're making a serious analysis when it makes you look smart, but you're just a comedian when you're wrong. What really killed me was his weird comparison to true crime podcasts. He argued that if people love hearing about serial killers, why are they mad at him for analyzing a fictional villain? The difference, my guy, is that a good documentary doesn't try to argue that Ted Bundy was just a misunderstood guy who really just wanted a girlfriend. The internet doesn't hate you because you made a video. They hate you because you missed the point of the story so aggressively that it felt intentional. The whole ordeal is a reminder that if you're going to dive into complex topics, especially those involving heavy themes like consent and predation, you actually have to do the work. You can't just slap a few funny sound effects on a plot summary and call it nuance. Alex eventually nuked the videos, both of them, probably realizing that doubling down on Bear was just an awkward loser wasn't exactly the winning strategy he thought it was. And honestly, it's probably for the best. Maybe take a break, watch a movie that isn't from the Disney Channel, and try to remember that media literacy isn't just about reading the plot. It's also about understanding the humanity you're talking over. But hey, that's just my take. What do you guys think? Was it just a bad video or people just took it too seriously? Let me know in the comments and try to be civil. Or don't. I'm not a cop. Just don't ask me to defend Bear. I have standards. Anyway, I'm gonna go find something else to do. Catch you later.
I'll talk to you guys later.